Heard on Thursdays with Nikki is about to go live online. Catch HOT, the iconic radio show that made Philippine FM radio talk, every Thursday on the Monster.
Streaming video on the Monster Facebook page at RX931, the Monster YouTube channel at RX931, and twitch.tv/Monster RX931.
You heard on Thursday's host, Nikki Porter. Stand by and enjoy the program.
Hey, what's up, monsters? Welcome to the show that made Philippine FM radio talk. That's heard on Thursdays on summer's hottest, Monster RX93.1. What's happening, everybody? It's Nikki Porter. Now, when 2023 started, I'm sure many of us, including myself, vowed to prioritize our health, both mental and physical. As we should, actually. As we should. But how's that going so far, friends? How is it? Are you keeping track? Are you being consistent? Have you actually started, or are you still waiting for the start of the next month or the next month to start all over again? Well, tonight's guests are two women that we can learn, or two women who can teach us a thing or two from when it comes to getting ourselves in the best shape, best shape possible, whatever shape that may be. Now, while we all want to get serious about our health and fitness, it doesn't mean that we can't have fun in the process. And these ladies can help us figure out the best way to get there. And apart from that, we'll talk a little bit about their experience as well as women in this modern world, and just to know how relatable it can be, because let's not be intimidated by these women who are fitness instructors, yes, but they go through everyday life like just us women who are not fitness instructors, diba? So whether you're vying to become a contestant on season 2 of Physical 100, or just wanting to feel confident enough to wear that bikini this summer, or if you just want to not feel out of breath when going up a flight of stairs, whatever goal it is that you have, whether it's to be healthy or to be a stronger woman, then this is a sign to get started and to get moving. So as we close out Women's Month, let's find out what it truly means to be a strong woman. Heard on Thursdays. Let's welcome to the show coaches, ganon, Bea Ignacio and Cel Villonco. Hello.
Yay!
Hi!
Good evening.
Welcome to the show, you
Nice.
guys. For some quick context, I know Bea and Cel also from high school. So if this comes off as like very casual, then so be it. At least it's easier to follow. At least I think so. I think so. Well, anyway, how are you, ladies? How was the pandemic for you? Let's start with Bea.
The pandemic, it was really tough. I really had nothing to do. I lived in a condo with my parents, but I made it work in such a way that with a small space in my room, I was able to finish my steps surprisingly. And then
Wow.
really like, yeah, for some reason I was just like I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna make it work. And yeah, it was something. It really forced me to find creative ways to stay fit during the pandemic. Yeah. And I think that's
Oh,
the same with Cell.
Yeah, actually pretty much. Except I was staying naman in a house though with my lola. And of course, like I think like everybody else, we all ended up investing on different kinds of equipment just to
mm-hmm,
also, try to stay fit, try to still sweat it out.
mm-hmm,
But of course, still just like everyone else was also very challenging trying to also adjust to the whole setup of like working from home and just being home most of the time. I mean,
mm-hmm.
as compared to pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure. And so, like, even for me, like, you're speaking to me also, like, buying equipment, like the dumbbells. I was like,
Oh
it
yeah.
took me, like, I had to warm up to it. Should I? Should I? Like,
Yeah, like
and what-
am I gonna invest in this? Like
yeah, yung mats then, because I'm like, no, I can't put this on, like, on the floor and the tiles. It might break. So it's like, it became like a whole thing, like,
yeah.
just to
right.
make sure everything, you were, it was all covered, and your parents won't get mad at you if anything breaks. So
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
fast forward to now. Um, it's almost back to normal, I think. But COVID's still alive, but then lower cases, of course. And now we've also taken on new roles, especially for Bea and Celine, who are with me tonight here on Third on Thursdays. One thing that I was pleasantly surprised in learning about them is that they are now fitness instructors. That isn't to say that they were never active when I knew them in high school. They were active. One was in dance, one was in softball, and a bunch of other things in between. So they knew like working out talaga. Like it was a part of their lifestyle. So the first question I want to ask both you ladies as a send off also to Women's Month. We'll talk about, us women and trying to be strong. What was being a fitness instructor in the cards for you when you were in college or in high school? Let's start with Steph.
Okay, well, for me, actually, after graduating from college, of course, straight to work, right? So, corporate job, and it was harder to find ways to stay fit, or so I thought at that time. And then I ended up trying my first group fitness class back in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And from that time on, fell in love with the concept of working out with a group of people, just like jamming out to the music.
Yeah.
And that from that time on, 2016, by 2017, that was actually the like a year later. That's when I started to think about it. I was like, I wonder if it's something that I could actually pursue, like a career in the fitness industry, becoming a fitness instructor. But to be honest, at that time, so back in 2017, I was so scared. I felt like I couldn't do it. I just
Mm.
didn't. I didn't have the confidence yet. I felt like, okay, maybe I need to like just keep taking more classes, trying to observe also how the instructors actually
Right.
teach the class. Just just trying to build it a little bit more. But as the years went on, um, and the pandemic hit. So I just got busy with my corporate job. But when the pandemic hit, I felt like, and there was an opportunity actually
Hmm.
to become an instructor. I figured, okay, maybe it's a sign. Maybe now is the time to actually try and do it.
Hmm.
And so that was back in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Bea? 2021,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
there. So 2021. And so actually, yeah, Bea and I are batchmates in
Hmm.
the movement studio where we both teach. So yeah, when 2021 came along, there was the opportunity. I was like, you know what? I waited what 4 years, maybe I got the experience in terms of taking group fitness classes.
Hmm.
Maybe it's time to try it out. And so 2021, I was 2021, now it's 2023, and I've been teaching for 2 years, and it's been great so far.
That's
One of the best decisions of my
awesome.
life. Yeah.
I'm glad you finally made a decision to actually do
Took
it
the
after.
plunge.
Yeah, after like a few years of waiting, eventually happened. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
what about Benaman? What was your
Let's
journey
go,
like? Did you want to be a fitness instructor in college, in high school? Where did that come in?
It was not part of the plan, to be honest. So, high school, college, I've always been like a softball girl. Like
Mhm.
I was into that whole teamwork or like a group workout type of thing. You know, being with people. And when I had my first job, I was working out alone, and I think my body was in shock. It's like, oh my god, I'm doing this all alone. I don't have a team, or like I don't have
Mm.
a support
yeah.
with
Yeah.
me in this whole journey. And I think I didn't feel complete, and I was trying to look for something. Complete. No, but seriously, it was just like, oh my god, I'm not. I need like I'm a very social person, so I was like, you know what, I need like energy from other people, and I need like to work out and see other people doing the same thing I'm doing, so I'm not suffering alone. Joke, not suffering, but you know what, not
Yeah,
working out
yeah.
alone. So I tried spinning in the beginning. I joined a spinning group before in Ortigas, and then I started there. Started teaching there. I trained for like a year and then started teaching for about like 3 4 years. Then eventually I transitioned to hit in TMS, so the
Mhm.
movement studio with Cell, then yeah, I think what really encouraged me to join this whole community is, from doing things alone, it I don't know, sometimes you get a little bit, it gets stale, but when
Yeah.
you have people around you and you have a community behind you like rooting for you, it's something else. So I think, yeah, so it wasn't part of the plan, but eventually you need people to do things, and then like why not take a role of helping people find their fitness routine or their passion. So it was, yeah, it was fulfilling.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And so well, for me also, I totally agree. Like I like going to an actual gym to see other people and be like, okay, I can't not do anything when I like while I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
And then
exactly.
but my favorite really was group classes nga, because you're all doing the same thing. You're all in pain. You're all just like, woo! Ganun lang.
Yeah.
'Di ba? And like even if you're cursing left and right, it's just like you all are, it's like in solidarity, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
that's one of the fun parts about being in group classes for sure. Now, there's a lot of us who like we're motivated in the beginning, just like with our New Year's resolutions. We're motivated in the beginning. Yes, let's go every week. Let's go and work out. But it will fade eventually in the next month or something. So what is it for the both of you about working out and in fitness that keeps you pulling back to it? That keeps pulling you back to it rather.
Yeah.
No fail. Who wants
Okay.
to take
uh,
this one? Okay. Bea?
okay.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
um Personally, more than anything, it's really a commitment to myself. There are times when, because apart from being a fitness instructor, I also have a 9 to 5 job. I work
Mhm.
in a yeah, I have a full time job, and sometimes it really gets hectic. And at the end of the day, I just have to remember that I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my health. I'm doing this for my sanity, and I always go back to that. It's um when you're I guess when your goals are a little bit like short-sighted, it's easy to lose track. But me, I really look at it like as a long-term thing. Like I want this to be a part of my life. So that's why I always like commit to it. I always go back to it. Simple things for me that helps me stay committed would be sending calendar invites within my schedule. Like, kunyari, if I'm meeting at like 4 to whatever, I'm gonna put a hard stop at this time, dress up, go to the gym. So that's like a reminder for me, to like, you made this decision for yourself, you set a meeting with yourself, you show up for yourself.
Mhm.
Just because, I mean, if you can show up to other people's meetings, if you can show up for work, why not show up for yourself? So I guess those are like the small things that help me really build a habit and then eventually have it in my system. Now, kunyari, it's like a week or a month or how many months ahead. If I don't have that same cadence, it's gonna feel weird already. It's like drinking
Yeah.
water, I guess. It's like it's a part of your system. So it's saying to the small yeses, to disciplining yourself and including it in your system, in your schedule, that will help you really stick to your goals. Yeah, that's for me.
For It's very interesting. I've always wanted to meet someone because I've always heard about like these fitspo people about like you have to set, you have to think of it like an important meeting in your day. I've never met anybody until tonight. No,
Oh my
actually,
Oh, there you
god.
there you go.
calendar
It's like a
invite.
corporate person and a fitness person
I know,
combined.
I know. We put it
Yeah.
together, which is awesome. All right. So, Sal, what about you? So, what is it about working out and fitness that keeps pulling you back to it? No
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah. So also, I guess in a way, also like what keeps me going, right? I think it's like two things. So one, I always have a goal for myself. Sometimes it changes every now and then. So like for just an example, I used to not enjoy running, like
Mm,
at all. Like you
right.
couldn't make me run like a 3 kilometer. Like yeah, you couldn't make me run three kilometers. And then eventually, I started to fall in love with it. And now, like, I made it a goal to, like, okay, you know what? Let's try to run for 5K. Let's try to run. Then, after once that was like a check, okay, let's try to run 10. And, like, now my goal is actually to run a 21, so a half marathon. So it's always working. Like, I always have a goal in mind, working towards something that will really encourage me to definitely like train harder, work harder. So it's always about setting a goal, no matter how big or small.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's multiple goals at a time. So like I want to get uh, better at running, but I also want to get stronger, and I want to be able to compete in, let's say, like obstacle course racing,
Mhm.
competitions, things like that. So it's just having all these different goals. Like that, I mean, that's what has been working out for me to just stay committed and to keep going. I think the second one that also plays a huge role is that for me, it actually is like my release. And I guess like, you release the endorphins as well. So it's like happiness when you start sweating.
Mhm.
But and I know it's also good for my health. So it's also just like what Bea said. It's really something that's more. It's my way of taking care of myself. So yeah, it's mostly, I would say it's a combination of the two. Like there were days like I guess one will be like more than the other, but in the
Yeah.
end, it's always going to amount to the two. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the takeaway from here, from this question, monsters, if you guys are just want a recap on like how you can try and get back to working out, there's three things. Number one, calendar invites, right?
Yeah.
It
Set it in your calendar. And then also from the two of you, you mentioned you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your health. So you're trying to it's almost like those Instagram reels that I see. It's like you're doing it so that you won't have a hard time carrying the groceries. You will only take like one round carrying the groceries. You
exactly.
won't
Yeah.
have a hard time climbing up the stairs when you're 60, or you won't like feel
Yeah.
heavy on your knees or something. So you're doing that for yourself, and you're also doing that for your future self,
Hmm.
if I may say so myself.
Yes.
Now, the third one is to do goal setting, like what Sel mentioned. Whatever goals that you might have, be it weight loss, but it's almost, I believe, I guess to make it easier, to make it like in bite-sized goals, also for some people who might get intimidated with the big goals, diba? Like even 5K or 3K might be a lot for one person who's
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
done it. Yeah, so
That's
like
very true.
1K, pwede na yun, siguro. And then you
Yeah.
move your way up from there.
Yeah. As
Yeah,
long
so
as
It
you're
there,
all starts
moving.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, as long as you're
Yeah.
moving it, and as long as you're working towards it and putting a coin in that bank like every
Hmm.
single day whenever you can. Now, you hold other jobs apart from being a fitness coach. So, Bea and Cel, what is it that you do without mentioning the company? What is it that you guys do? Like you guys are like Fitspo girls by night, but by day, what are you?
I'm in marketing. I'm a senior product manager. So it's a
Wow.
lot of, yeah, it's a lot. Then,
But Bea's
yeah,
going strong. She's doing so
fighting.
well.
What
And so
about you?
also,
Oh, you're
Oh,
both in marketing, ba? Or ano?
no, I'm not in marketing.
Okay.
So I work in the e-commerce industry. I
Mhm.
am I I am a key account manager. So under like the commercial team, sales team, I guess you could say that.
Got
Yeah.
you. And your hours are usually 8 to 10.
9 to 6 for me. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
hours?
Oh, sorry. 9 to 9 a.m.
I was like,
Whoa.
wow.
Bakit backwards siya?
Minus.
Sorry. 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, so
Monday
about
to
okay.
Fridays.
All right. So
Yeah.
around that range. Okay. And you
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
I love that you guys are still able to do that, which to work out, which is something that we can all relate to, especially those who work full-time jobs. Sometimes it does seem impossible. You get lazy at the end of a day, especially if it's been
Yeah.
busy for you to go to the gym. So,
So
um look at these two. No, I'm just kidding. Not to put you on the spot. Not to put you on the spot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, like, it is possible. It is possible for you to balance the two. If you can actually apply like the goal setting and the calendar planning, it could work. It could work for the monsters who are listening and who are curious and who want to start a healthier and more consistent workout and wellness regimen. Now, growing up though, let's backtrack a little bit. Growing up, we're going to talk about us women now.
Hmm.
Okay.
What was the impression that you grew up with when it came to what a woman should look like or how a woman should look like?
Oh my gosh, I have so much feels about that question. I'm
Okay,
kidding.
start with you. Go ahead.
Well, I guess growing up, I actually just recently posted about it. When I was younger, my body is naturally athletic in build. So
Mm,
generally, like I have like thick thighs, like big quads. And I think growing up, like we have this notion that, girls are supposed to have skinny legs, girls are supposed to be like super skinny and like super, I don't know, like Barbie. That's the
yeah,
image, right? And
right.
me, on the other hand, I'm like, ooh, a little bit more muscular, and like boys would tease me like, "Oh, you're so batak for a girl," or like, "Parang wow, your legs are bigger than mine." And I would always feel so insecure about that, like growing up, and um, I guess even until like after college, I had this thing na I'm gonna excessively do cardio so that I'd lose the muscles and just get skinny or like try to lean myself out. And it was really unhealthy. I was trying to mold myself into a notion of how a woman should look like. And
Mm-mm,
eventually I was like, it's a long process. And to be honest with you, it was only recent when I really accepted how I look like in the mirror and just be like, it's me. I'm accepting my body. I'm accepting that, I have all of these shapes. I'm a little curvy. I have muscles and I'm pretty proud of it. So I think from that, that negative notion and like growing up with all of those comments and then like looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself like, you know what, I'm a strong woman. I'm able to lift, I'm able to run.
yeah.
I have all of these muscles. I'm capable. I can do it. And I just try to like zone out and like not think about what other people think and just focus on myself, look at myself in the mirror every day and just affirm myself, you know what, you're doing a good job and
Hmm.
you look good. Like no one else is gonna tell you that except
Yeah.
yourself.
I
Like,
love that.
yeah.
No, that's amazing. And it's totally like I can totally relate with what you said also with you having like a much more athletic body like and your thighs have to be like skinnier and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And so and I also it was very interesting that you mentioned that even after college that was still the mindset that you had. And so I'm sure a lot of us who are listening right now can relate to that. Some of us still think that way, even if
Yeah.
we've already lived, 30 something years on Earth, even if there's so many changes in society right now, right? So we still have that in the back of our heads, like we're still thinking and we're still comparing sometimes, we're still wondering. So, what about Selnaman growing up? What was the impression that you had on what or how a woman should look like?
Yeah. Wait, before I like start talking, I swear to God, you should really see how Bea
Oh
runs
my
and how
gosh.
she lifts. It's insane. Like super goals. I just had to plug that in there because grave.
I've
Okay.
seen her Instagram story. It's
So,
not to sound like I'm stalking you, but
I want to run as fast as Bea. Like I swear.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So for me, I think okay. So mine's a little different, but also somewhat similar. Because growing up, when I was a kid, I was a pretty skinny kid.
Mhm, mhm,
Of course, as a baby, a little cute little baby. But then I grew up, entered like grade school. I was really thin. And then I became a gymnast. And so when I became a gymnast, that's when I started to really develop more like muscles and yeah, more muscle. Basically, I got a little bit more like you could see the athletic build, some
mhm,
similar to Bea's. And I guess as you like progress, like high school, college, obviously like school, like you get stressed, and then like it's a mix of different things. Like you end up like, of course, like I ended up gaining a little bit of weight. So, but of course, at that stage, same concept, same idea. I always just believe that, girls have to be like skinny, they have to always be, like you have to have the thigh gap, you have, those
Mm-hmm.
things. And so same, like in high school and college, that was what I was aiming for, even if it was in the most unhealthy ways, or in an unhealthy way. um, it's what I tried to achieve. And of course, I was generally unhappy with how I looked. And I guess it's also hard with media, and of course, just also seeing all the different body types around you constantly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And actually, also very similar to Bea, only after I graduated, probably just also recently, that's when I started to accept myself for how I looked. So now, how I like to see it is, I don't like focusing on how I look or how my body looks. Rather, I like to focus on what it can do. So what it can do for me everyday life. So like what we were talking about earlier, just like doing the simple things that could be challenging for some, but like lifting, let's say, like what, a gallon, okay, that might be a lot, gallon of water or something, right? Like, or yeah, just like climbing, I don't know, like how many flights of stairs. Like sometimes it's
Or your
like,
hikes.
yeah, or like
Mm.
hiking a mountain,
Yeah,
right?
hiking.
So like that can be really tough. But of course, like now I learned to appreciate more, like, okay, my body can do this, and this is how strong it has become. So, and I think by looking at it that way, that's when you kind of get to embrace what you like, who you are, what you look like, rather than focusing on the others. Because I mean, obviously, like every like all bodies are different, but
Mm-hmm.
all bodies are beautiful. So like, yeah. So in short, also just recently was when I started to kind of appreciate more what this is.
No, that's great. No, I love how you both shared, there really are these what do you call this? What is the word that I'm looking for? Like there really
Stereotype.
was this
Oh,
stereotype, yes, for
Yeah.
how women should look like. And for me also growing up, it was the same thing. Why do I not have a thigh gap? Why do I have thigh dips? Diba? We should take our thigh dips when they're normal. When they're normal, it's okay for your thighs to meet when your feet are together. It's like,
Yeah.
and it took a while for, and it's taking a while still for some people to come to terms with that and to accept that and to look in the mirror and actually accept themselves and be brave enough or be open enough to actually say that, I love what I see. This is the one body I got, so might as well do something about it. Honor it in a way, by staying healthy and seeing how
yeah.
far it can actually go, how much your body can do. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So this is not a rant, monsters. I'm just this can be triggering for some people, of course. Like growing up and having all these comparisons and having these stories. I'm sure some of us can relate. Those who are listening right now. So, with your upbringing, your friends, and your own bodies now, I want if you can try and remember, what was the one thing that you'll always remember? Because sometimes it can stay embedded in your brain. What was the one thing you'll always remember that someone commented negatively about your body? Apart from the being batak, Bea, is there something else apart someone was like? Because batak is like back then, yes, it's a little like it makes you feel insecure. But then now when you think you're batak, yeah, that's right, I'm batak.
Yeah.
'Di ba? But negatively before, like, was there something na parang really brought you down?
Hmm.
You
Let
can
me
think about
Ah,
think.
or sell also. You can also think right now. Na parang you like you kind of wanted to tear up a bit, perhaps, or
like specifically like a body, or like
it
a
can
body
be about your
part,
body, or it
or
can be about it can be about your body part, or it can even be about you, or say in terms of like
oh,
appearance. We can expand it to that.
oh, okay. Um, okay, I think like well, I did. Okay, I'll go first. But
Go,
Go
go
like
ahead,
ahead,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I mentioned yeah earlier that I did. You know how okay, you know how in college when you're a freshman and then there's that what do you call it? Like when they say when you like you gain weight and then they call it the freshman 15.
Oh,
You know
Yeah.
oh,
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I gained that. I gained the
mm,
freshman 15, which is basically gaining 15 pounds like on your
mm,
freshman year in college. So of course like I guess like it was probably I guess you would say like the big quote unquote the biggest that I've been. So I think even and I wasn't physically active that time because I was very
mm,
focused on orgs. You know how like when you enter college you're like, "Oh, you should join orgs because this will really
mhm,
help you um
yeah.
get like when you once you graduate and start job hunting." So I think that was I guess for me like the most like like it really hit me like okay because I mean sometimes people were like no one was really so like in my face okay well not really in my face about it but there were still comments like oh like you know you gained and I'm like
Mm,
ah yes I am
mm,
aware so I mean like yeah but so I think for me it was that like of course at that time it really took it to heart
yeah.
because I yeah but like now honestly if someone says that I'm just gonna be like well you know I probably like sure I might have gained but I also probably got stronger so
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all good right so
exactly.
Right.
so
Exactly.
so yeah I think for me it was really just that but of course as a
Mm.
college freshman you know you're like so you know so vulnerable and everything so
True.
yeah
Oh my
So, what
gosh.
about Bea? May naisip ka?
Actually, the same, but this
really
Mm.
time, setting wise, when I was new in the fitness industry, like starting out as an
Mm.
instructor, and you'd have all of these like um comments that you didn't really ask for, like, oh, you kind of gained weight, or like you kind of look fluffy. Fluffy? Oh my gosh.
Fluffy?
fluffy
Fluffy is
actually
cute.
agree
Yeah.
yes
So, those comments, like, in the beginning, especially if you're starting out in the fitness industry, you're like, oh my God, I gained weight. I'm not
Mhm.
going to be respected as a coach if I gain weight or whatever. And it's in the beginning, it was hard. Like, I'd I'd overwork myself. I'd say like
Mhm.
I'd cut,
Yeah.
I'd diet, I'd do more extra things. But then now honestly it doesn't bother me because um I guess my goal right now is to look beyond my weight and my physical appearance. And personally my goal right now is how I can maximize my body, how I can keep it strong, injury free,
Mhm.
and and just be able to do the things I want to do until I'm older, because I know for a fact that if I don't take care of myself now, if I keep obsessing about my weight or about what other people think, what what is that gonna do? I can't control that. I'm just gonna control what I can do at the moment and how I see things, so that I can continue hiking with Cell,
let's
doing
go
all of these other things, and hopefully in the future be strong enough to have kids running around, and me in my, I don't know, 30 plus 40s being able to still take care of them, like,
run around with
yeah,
that
and run around, yeah, with them. So
Right.
yeah, so it's really just like, oh, all your comments, okay,
Yeah.
goodbye.
yeah
I like that you mentioned that because it really plays along with you always thinking long term about
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
results. Yeah. So that's awesome. Now, I want to know though, I love that we're all kind like starting to accept ourselves. We're finally like getting into that mindset. How do you still feel that way though when you scroll on social media, when you see like photos of maybe celebs, maybe influencers, maybe even some of your friends, if ever, the parang they're like living their best life and they look so good. Is there still do you still have that bit of a comparison or feel a little bad about yourself? Does that still exist? Who wants to go sell?
Me,
Go,
okay,
go,
yeah,
go.
I can go. I don't mind. Okay. Well, not gonna lie. I guess I would say that yes, there are still times. I mean, you know, we're human. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I won't say like 100% like no, but Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like definitely it's not as let's say as intense as it was before.
Yeah.
Um, like I like to see it more in a sense that again, like her body is totally different from mine. What she can do is also different from what I can do.
Mm.
So it's and I think I don't really dwell on it anymore like as much as before. Like it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to look like that or I want to aim to be like that. Like no, it's just
Mm-hmm.
more like, hey girl, you look good. So I think it's like now that we're all like we're older, it's kind of also more of trying to appreciate rather than criticize. I think
Mm.
we're just like mature. Wow, maturing. But yeah,
We're
that's
getting there.
but I mean, there's like a small part, but you tend to like if like before it was the other way around. Like you tend to focus more on like comparing.
Yeah,
Right.
Now
yeah,
it's more like focusing on like appreciation and like a little bit of comparing, but then still, in the end, it's still more of that, like the
Mm-hmm.
appreciation portion or aspect
Right.
of it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, same. Cause well, you can't help but look like badly put. There's like this really nice gown on a
Mm.
really tall person, and it looks so good on her. And you're like, oh my god, I want to wear this dress, but I'm so
Mm-mm.
tiny. I don't have long legs. Like, when can you stretch me? Yeah, like those moments. Like, I mean, I still have those moments, accepting that some styles might not look good on me, or like um someone looking extra that way and then me looking this way. But same with Sel, I try not to dwell on it and just try to go back to the progress I've done, the progress of like really letting go of all the negativity. And
Mm-mm.
honestly, it took a while. It took a while. um I mean, how old are we? And then it's still, we're still battling,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that thought, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a process still. But yeah, there are still thoughts, but it's, I guess, constant affirmation and reassuring myself that this is what you're given, like this is
Mm-hmm.
your body. And I try to remember, like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, or I can lift this, I can lift that. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I just try to like think about what I can do and just try to like box it in there and just go with
Mm-hmm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with the both of you as well, because in terms of in terms of what's this, comparing, still, yeah, I definitely, I still feel that I don't linger in the photo too long when I know it's about to be like
Yeah.
when it start to get to that those thoughts that I'm like, no, okay, scroll. And but more than that, like I like what Bea said also in terms of you knowing what your body looks like. So for example, someone looks very svelte, someone looks very skinny, has a thigh gap and everything. Sometimes it still gets me, but at the same time I'm like, that's not how my body is built. I am built like an hourglass. So
Exactly.
Work it.
Beyonce
yeah,
vibes.
exactly. So it's like, my curves are not the same curves as hers. And my curves are still pretty sexy. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that but I'm not desiring to have her body, but I am starting to appreciate, it's like, you look good. Like, I will like this photo of you.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
think
It's
that's a
like,
good thing also. Like sometimes when I look at like someone wearing a nice dress, instead of like lingering to, oh, I wish I could wear that, or I wish
mm,
my legs looked like that, I'd shift it to, oh, she looks so nice. It looks so
yeah.
good on her. Like
Right.
more of a positive
Yeah.
than
Exactly.
thinking like, oh, I wish I had that. Yeah.
Women
Yeah.
That's
supporting
nice.
women. Exactly.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
it's like I
exactly.
used to another thing unhealthy thing, I guess, that I used to do is I withheld my likes for photos when they when they
Oh,
Oh.
I don't know if you can relate with this, like when like, parang they look so good, it's like I feel so bad about myself. I'm not gonna like this. Like
yeah.
that's how my confidence was back then. So now it's more of like when I like, it's like, go you,
Yeah.
whoever you think you
Yeah.
are.
Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Like I think like during the pandemic, we were always on social media. I think that's one thing that I started doing, just like hyping people up.
Mm.
It gave me so
Yeah.
much like it gave me so much, I don't know, like goodness. No, but seriously, like every time someone would post something, I'd, the emoticon, the fire, like, yes, go girl,
Yeah.
you got that. Or like random people I'm not close to, I'd reach out and be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you look so good. Or like,
Uh-huh.
you're doing so well, you're doing so amazing. And it felt so nice to like see people gain confidence with your small comments. And yeah, and I think people should keep doing that.
Yeah.
Like, comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I would do that now with people I wasn't close to in high school. But
Yeah.
then like when they chop their hair, they have a really good makeup look, or they like their look really good in their outfit. Sometimes I'll even DM them. I say like
Oh yeah,
someone
yeah,
from
yeah.
someone from high school, like I have to say this. You look amazing. Like
Yeah.
we really, because before like we really scrimp on like compliments that people actually deserve.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah. Very true.
a little kindness goes a long way talaga when it
Yeah.
comes to especially body positivity and just like cheering people on, being their
Yes.
cheerleader. So there we go. I love it. Positive interview. I love it. It's great. Okay. All right. So now we're talking about strong women this time. So we'll ask Bea to answer this first. But what is your opinion on women weightlifting?
Ooh, yes. Faye has to
Oh. Well, I find it so sexy. I'm kidding.
It
No, but
is.
it
It is
is.
though, I
It is
agree.
though. Like, honestly, in the beginning, I was really intimidated. I gym in. Am I allowed to say where I gym?
What's the,
I
like the
gym.
I gym.
area.
I gym in a place.
I
In a
gym
place with a lot of
period.
men. No, but seriously, like I gym in a place with a lot of power lifters, weight
Yeah.
lifters. And in the
Mm-mm.
beginning I'm like, oh, I'm just carrying like baby weights. And like, oh my gosh, like this is what I'm lifting. But around me, it was so empowering to see like women who lift two times their body weight or
Mm.
even more. And I was just really motivated. And it was like, oh wow, girl, you're so capable, you're so powerful. I want to be like you. Like, I
Mhm.
want to be able to carry my groceries from Ortigas to like my condo. Like, you get me,
Yeah.
those type of things. But seriously, I find it so like it's so powerful, and it just shows how strong women are. Um like, I like in the beginning I thought like it was like a man thing, or like just boys can lift, or like boys can do this. But seeing all of these women who lift heavy, it's like, I we got it.
Mhm.
We have what it takes. So yeah, it's so empowering.
It's empowering for sure. What
Yeah.
about you, Sel? What about you when it comes to lifting?
Yeah, so I think same. Like before I always thought it was like, maybe this is more of a guy thing. Like again, like maybe girls should focus just on like cardio or like things like that.
Yeah.
But I started to appreciate lifting, I guess what was that? Like 4 years, 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And again, it's so empowering, and it's really more of like just, I guess, like the independent woman in me is like, I want to be able to, yeah, same, like do things on my own, lift things on my own from one place to the next without
Right.
having to rely on anyone else, or like especially like a guy, for example, to
Mhm.
to
Carry
help me through
this.
it. Yeah,
Like,
right.
no, I
Jar.
got it.
So, and I think even just like as soon as you lift those weights and you see yourself in the mirror, it's just like an
Mm.
instant, like your mood just shifts. It's like, yeah, I can do this. Like I
Yeah,
Yeah.
can
yeah.
lift this. It's just it's a different feeling. Like it's so addicting. I think that's like the
Yeah.
perfect, right? It's the perfect
Yeah.
where like you just see yourself just getting stronger every single day. That
That's so
I don't know,
true.
like
Mm-mm.
it's always I think because now some, like there are still a lot of girls who are kind of afraid of it,
Mhm.
and
Mm-mm.
I'm sure like Bea would agree. It's like you should, we would really encourage that you try it first. Like try it first,
Yeah.
feel it out. Start with like you don't have to go heavy right away type of thing, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
like have fun with it. In short, just have fun with it. Nothing too extreme, but you'll see like there's gonna be like this, I don't know how to. It's exhilarating. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it, but
Mm-mm.
right, like if you, like Bea, you
Especially when you get to finish like a set and you're
yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's just, and then especially for me, I used to be afraid of like making a face. Diba? When you lift, it's like, Like
It's like
really, like
ugly
the
face.
stank,
Like,
ugly face kind of thing. But now it's just like, hey, I'm putting in the work here. Like this is me just like expelling my energy, like lifting something. So bahala na on how I look. That's why I wear mask. So joke lang. The joke lang, joke lang. No, but I agree with both of you, of course. Weightlifting is one of my like that's my favorite workout actually because it's just
yeah,
like I used to be afraid of it, nga, but then there's I think it's something that we should also point out that it doesn't bulk up women. We don't have the same
yeah,
amount of testosterone that
Yes,
men have that
exactly.
allows them to bulk up in the way that they should,
exactly.
plus
Yes.
protein powder. But yeah, so we're not gonna end up that way unless you really make the effort to want to look that way. You
Mm-hmm.
won't bulk up,
Exactly.
ladies. So this is really you being strong. And I love seeing like Instagram reels of like women doing like what do you call those? Yeah, when they do squats and stuff. Like
Yeah,
yeah, barbell squat ba yun or something.
yeah.
It's just like
Bea!
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like how do you not pop your knee, but at the same time, at the same time,
Oh my
sorry,
god.
that's not
I don't want that in my head.
sorry.
Visuals,
Fine, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
like
Okay, for
get
so
on me.
for context, Bea has an injury, but she has been, doing therapy for it, diba? I don't stalk
Yeah.
you, I swear.
It's like, yes.
Yeah. But in any case, yes. It's intimidating also when you see like those barbells now with so many plates on. But it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
important to remember that they don't start with that many plates as well.
Yeah, oh
Like
my
that's
gosh.
gradual.
Yeah.
That's gradual and how heavy you can lift. So there we go. Weightlifting for women. It's empowering. It's sexy. It's amazing. You should try it. It's exhilarating, and it'll make you feel better about your body. Honestly. Okay? The
Yeah,
gains are real. The gains are real, but not
it's
intimidating.
true. Can I just share? I have a
Go ahead.
friend.
Mm.
She's also from our school. But anyway, I tagged her along. I was like, why don't you try? Because she was really not moving at all during the pandemic. She was stuck with work. She was always on her laptop. She barely got her steps in. So I said, why don't you try lifting in the gym
In the
and in
place.
the place.
And
So so after that, so I took her with me, and then right now she's really really strong. She started out with just dumbbells. She started out, just doing body weight squats, and eventually
Mhm.
going to dumbbells, and then eventually going to barbells, and now she's lifting her body weight and even more.
I love that.
And she's not bulky at all because, as what Nikki said, you need to take in a lot of food, you need to take in a lot of protein to
Mhm.
get that same, I don't know, same shape as a man.
Yeah.
Again, we're not built like a man, so we're not gonna look like a man, or
Mhm.
like the muscles or whatever people are scared of to look bigger or what. You're not gonna reach that until you try, like,
You
really like
train
eating
for it.
so
Like you
much. Yeah, you train for it.
yeah.
But if you're just gonna do it as a workout, or like as part of your routine, like as a strength training program, it's gonna do wonders for your body. It's gonna
Mhm.
keep you strong. Like, even with working, like, honestly, one of the things that PTs actually say is that when you're like seated the whole day, your glutes get really weak. And that's
Oh,
gonna, like, oh my gosh, Sel, we have a glute issue from sitting down
the
from work
glue.
the whole day.
Well, I guess all three of us at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not gonna strengthen like some of your like other muscles who are like just weak, or if you have some imbalances, it's really gonna affect your daily life. Some,
Mhm.
like, it even affected me in such a way that, because my glutes were so weak, it translated to my hips. And then after that, like, walking sometimes, or like from a seated position to standing up from the office, would be painful because it was like a lot of, yeah, oh my gosh, why am I talking about pains? But yeah, but those small things, it's so
Yeah.
important to really make sure your whole body is like equally strong all throughout, like all parts, so that you can
Yeah.
do the regular things that you want to do. I mean, like, so, right, like our glutes, our baby glutes.
Or glutes.
Yeah.
Them
Baby glue.
hammies. Yeah. Yeah, I swear, like super hard. Like I agree with that. Like same with Bea, I have to strengthen the glutes because I also have like lower back pain, and I found out through also a a PT that it's also because my glutes are got weaker. I was like, what? So
Yeah.
training that right now. That's what I'm
Yeah.
working on. That's what
Now,
we're
so
working.
that's why I want to learn how to do like the barbell squats and everything, and the bridge also. Like seeing the women like do that, it's just like that's so hot. Like I want to do that too.
Let's go
And
gym at
just
the
like
place.
at the place, I'm gonna meet you at the place. All right. Now we've talked about fitness, we've talked about weightlifting, but there's always this you always have to pair it with, nutrition and proper nutrition rather. So, but I also want to know realistically, we also get intimidated by that, diba? Na parang, oh my God, we have to portion everything, we have to measure, blah, blah, blah. What does it look like though for both of you, like eating in a day? You're consistently working out, but what's the payoff there, I guess, when you are in terms of your nutrition daily? About cell?
So like okay, like I guess it's like our intake type of thing,
No,
like or
just yeah, yeah. I mean, in terms of like, what do you eat on the every day? But then, like, do you lean more into like being healthy, or what do your cheat days look like if you have cheat days?
oh, okay. So I personally, I don't have like a very strict diet. I
Mhm.
think it's more of like I try to balance it out. So,
Yeah.
like like actually when the pandemic hit, I actually I still have, of course, I have my, let's say, my meats, my veggies, and my carbs like my rice, or sometimes it's bread, or any whatever I'm in the mood for. But compared to like before, I always have a balance of the three. But I used to really focus a lot on, like, let's say, carbs, and I mean the, like, let's say, rice and the ulam. But now I super grew recently, actually no, a few years ago. I love vegetables, like huge veggie girl,
Yeah.
like I swear, like you could just give me like a whole bowl of veggies and I'll pound that like that. But I think for me, for example, like I like always in the morning starting off with something that will help me stay, alive, alert all throughout the day. Like I love
Yeah.
starting off with something like oats, or like overnight oats with
Hmm.
fruits, something like that. Then my coffee. Or sometimes if I'm in the mood for like a sandwich, I go for a peanut butter sandwich type of thing. And then come lunch, of course, you still need energy for the rest of the day, especially if I'm gonna start working out. So that's when I have that three, like, meats, veggies, and the carb all in that on my beautiful plate. And then usually by dinner, it's still like pretty much the same. Of course, you gotta replenish what your body,
Yeah. Right.
like what you not yeah, what you the energy you let out all throughout the day, and plus the workout. But of course, like I have a huge sweet tooth actually, so I love like your cakes, your pie. Pie is my favorite thing.
Hmm.
So of course I will always have those days. I'm gonna indulge. I really won't, like, I'm not gonna stop myself. I will still enjoy. So yeah, I think for me it's really just, um, I guess my love for veggies has helped a lot. Because it's really something I focus on more, and it's what I lean towards. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the type to really restrict myself.
Okay.
Just as long as I also have that balance of, I get to still move throughout the day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Bea, what about you?
For me, my intake or like the way I eat actually depends on my activity. So
Mm.
sometimes, let's say, like specifically right now, I'm doing flag football on the side and like a lot of strength training, also a little bit more of cardio since you're running a lot.
Yeah.
So my intake would, I wouldn't. I guess I'd eat a lot more than the usual, just so I have enough energy to keep me going throughout all my activities. I guess I am not restricting myself right now just because I need the carbs, I need the protein. Because food in itself is fuel. So
Mhm.
I'm really fueling myself for all of my activities. And same with Cell, it's really like a balanced meal, a
Hmm.
balanced plate. So I make sure I have enough protein, I have enough carbs, I have enough vegetables, I have enough fruit. I make sure to eat at least one fruit a day.
Oh my
So
God,
just those,
same.
right, just those small
Right. Yeah.
things. Yeah, but I don't. I used to in the past like really count my calories, but
Mm.
but honestly it's not sustainable for me personally, just because I just don't have headspace for it. I have a full-time job. I have, like, I'm teaching on the side, I'm doing all of these extracurricular work. Like, I don't have time to like sit down
Do
and just
math
do
and sit
math,
down and know like
weigh
the
my
weight and
food.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, but for me it's something that doesn't work for me, but I mean it works for other people, and it's something to help, it helps keep them on track, but if it doesn't work for you, if it stresses you out, or if it makes you feel like you're not enjoying your food anymore, you don't see it as fuel, then maybe
Yeah.
that's something that you should veer away from. But the way I look at it is really more of, I need to nourish my body, I need to eat these things to keep me healthy, and then I need to these things to help me get through my activities for the day.
Mm.
I really look at food that way more than anything, just because I guess in the past also I'd look at it like, oh my god, I can only eat this, or like I'm
Yeah.
cutting, I can only eat this much, and it wasn't enjoyable. I mean, food is fun, food is yummy, let's
Mhm.
enjoy it. But yeah, so
Exactly.
just those things. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
And yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, just to like add, because coming off of what Bea said, it just reminded me of something I also used to do. So I used to do IF. If you guys are, I mean, I'm
Oh
sure you
yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
fasting. So, like I would only eat from a from a certain time. I think what was I doing before? I think it was like 12 to 8 or something like that.
Hmm.
12 noon to 8 p.m. Because I before I wasn't big on breakfast, but again, similar to Bea, it's like the lifestyle change. So,
Yeah.
this was back when, let's say, I was in school, or I was also training in the mornings. I couldn't really like eat breakfast type of
Yeah.
thing. But I guess also with the lifestyle change, that's when I was like, okay, I really need to start the day with like a good breakfast, just so my mind's also working for work. But yeah, I think that was actually another thing that also worked for me back then, which was IF. But again, it could work for some, but it could
Hmm.
also not work for some. So I guess it's also like what Bea said, it's just finding what works for you and what you will also find sustainable for
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
lifestyle.
I think
And
bottom
like,
line is whatever you can find sustainable, go ahead
Yeah.
and do it. You know?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and
Did you?
eating
Yeah.
and enough and not excessively eating, because it's one to enjoy food, but if you're like anything too much is bad for you. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
That's another conversation for another time, I think, because it's
Yeah.
like a lot of us also are just like, oh my God, should I have another slice of this pie, for example? You
Yeah,
know, Diba? It's like just
myself.
not eating in excess for sure. But then also it's just like really having that self control. Like when you feel your body is full and you don't want to overdo it, like that's another thing that we should all learn. Listening to our bodies when we're eating, I think, and not eating too fast, I guess. Now, okay, we are nearing the end of the show, so just a couple questions left. What is your definition of a strong woman? Yung
Ooh.
parang
Hmm.
essay part
Oo nga
ng
eh.
final exam.
Oh,
Parang pang
really?
college
Maybe
essay
like
or
at
like Miss
least five
Universe.
sentences. Joke lang.
How many words?
May
Ganun.
word
Hindi
count.
naman. Mga ano, parang tweet, 140 characters. Joke.
Wow.
Hindi na. Maiksi lang yun. No, but yeah.
Oh my
So what would your definition of a strong woman be? Considering everything that we have discussed, considering everything that we've changed in our lives and changed our mindsets, um, how would you perceive a strong woman? Who wants to go first?
I think a strong
God.
woman, beyond physical, mental, emotional, I think one thing that defines a strong woman is being able to do what you set your mind to do, having that
Mm,
courage, that strength to keep going despite all of the challenges that you encounter. You just keep pushing. I think that defines strength. being able to keep going despite everything. Because,
Yeah.
in everyone's journey, there will always be hurdles, there will always be challenges. Um, there will be setbacks,
Hmm.
right? Like, let's say you're progressing so well, and then you, I don't know, you get all the way back if that's your goal, or you get weaker, or you get injured, then you get that setback.
Yeah.
But if you're
Hmm.
able to just keep pushing, motivate yourself, discipline yourself to go back to where you started and even more, that's strength for me.
Mm,
Yeah.
there we go. And sometimes it's not just even like health wise or
Not even.
um
It's
like
in all aspects in our
yeah,
lives. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. What about you, Sel?
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, I actually agree with Bea's definition of it. Like, not, I actually, like, I'm just gonna, like, add, like, something super small. But, I think for me, like, even before, whenever you say someone's strong, I think we tend to focus immediately on physical, right? Like, oh yeah, she's so strong, or he's so strong, type of thing. But I guess as I got older, for me, it always starts with the mental aspect. Like, for me, for
Mm,
anything, it always has to start within, right? So, and it's always in the mind. Like, they always say, like, it's all in the mind, it's all in the mind. Because I feel like if you can believe it, well, what's that saying? If you believe, you can achieve. But
Wow.
wow, but yeah, I think for me, like, since it's more of a mental challenge. Like, when I talk about strength, it starts here, and then everything else will just follow suit. So it's like once you're mentally strong, yeah, basically whatever you, similar to what Bea said, whatever you set your mind to, um you'll I mean, you'll be able to achieve it, as long as yeah, you of course have to have that mental strength to power through. So
hmm.
yeah.
Mental strength for sure. Now,
Yeah.
final final question. Think of this like bonus question in the final
Yeah.
exam for additional points. Then I'm just kidding. Okay, shout out for both of you to the strong women in your life, in your lives. Go ahead. Just like say call out whoever it is that you think is a strong woman in your life.
I think, well, like the first answer of it, so of course my mom.
Yeah.
Like, she gave birth to
Yeah.
us, like
That's
four of
right.
us. And I think that's one of the biggest things that like a woman can do. Like, imagine carrying children inside our bodies and like releasing them to the world.
Yeah.
That's something else. So yeah, I mean, we are all of the women in my life are, we're all so strong, and I'm so happy to be surrounded by strong, independent women
That's
who
right.
are, setting their own paths in their own careers, their own journeys, their own fitness journeys. And it's just so inspiring and uplifting to see everyone. And I don't speak just for like my close friends, but actually, like, in my circle, everyone I see on social media, how I
Yeah.
like hyping people. I
Mhm.
Yeah.
really like find joy in seeing people who succeed in their own ways, and
Yeah.
especially like women who are starting to do a lot more. And it just gives me so much strength to keep going, Like, seriously, it's like, when you see
Coach
people, you're
Taxi
like,
talaga.
when you see people, you're like, oh, if she can do it, with, everyone can do it, like, we got this.
Mm,
Yeah.
there we
Coach na
go.
So,
coach.
but
Even
I
off duty.
wanted to do a shout out to Austin because he's been messaging. He's like, shout out, shout out. Hi, Austin.
Really?
Hi. But yeah, anyway, go Sal.
Oh yeah, he said I'm listening. Hi, Austin.
Cute.
For me, very similar to Bea, my mom. So actually, just a small like side cuento. I grew up with my mom and my grandmother, so really, like, very, like, women.
Mhm.
Like, it's all women household type of thing. So I really believe that women can do anything just by seeing them as I grew up. So definitely shout out to, of course, my mom and my grandmother, and also my friends, my coworkers, any like anyone I encounter, because yeah, so we all have our own things going on. We all have our own challenges, our own difficulties, but everyone is just, trying to go through life, trying to power through, and that's already like, that's show again, like showing strength, exactly like what Dea said. That's showing strength in itself, just getting up every single day to do what you have to do, sometimes not just for you but for the people around you. And so yeah, like, props to all of these people, props to all of the people I love. We're gonna get through it together, so I'm cheering you on.
Yeah, like the coaches that you are, you will cheer us on. I love that. All right. Well, we are a little over time, but thank you so much, Bea and Cel, for sharing your lives, ganon. And your time, of course. It's already like 12 past 12. So thank you very much for sharing your take also on what it means to be a strong woman and why we should, change the way that we have grown, like the way that we've seen women growing up, and why that mindset should change, and how we should kind of like impart that with younger people also who might be struggling, or people who are still even our age or a little older who
Mhm.
might still feel that way too. So there we go, monsters. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us on radio, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube. BSL, you guys were everywhere this evening, so I'll meet you at that place. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well,
Let's
anyway,
lift at the place.
we'll meet up at the place. All right. Okay.
Yay.
So for all of the monsters, thank you very much for listening in. Catch us again next Thursday for another episode. But for now, keep it locked only here on the Monster. Bye bye.
Thanks for having